What's up, world? Being when it come back, live in the garden. Be right back. Hey guys, Marco, what it do? Just wanted to come in real fast, guys. Appreciate you guys joining me in the garden. I really appreciate you. If you've seen the title, um, and especially right now, right? I think the title is "Colleges Get Bailed Out," but what about K through 12? And the reason why I want to title that because and then of course I wanted to get into a couple other things, but um, I just wanted to really actually talk about how is it that right now, we have what 55, 56 million uh, students not in school right now, right? That's a lot of students, right? And to hear that, a lot of these school districts all around the nation, KY, what it do? A lot of these school districts all around the nation, you know, are concerned about not having enough money, resources, and finances to accommodate the students coming in this next year, which I don't understand how that's the case. Now, we know why it's the case, in the lower economic areas, which that's still throw because, you know, property taxes, if you don't know how the school districts work, and this is going to be a little quick education situation. If you went to an inner city school, right, and you didn't have a lot of resources, you didn't have a computer lab, you didn't have, vocational tech anymore. A lot of the resources at your school, were kind of limited. Well, if you lived in the inner city and a lot of the students that went to your school living in apartments and whatnot, then of course those schools are going to be that way because the way they have the system set up, which is totally thrown, is that most of the money that's designated or allocated to schools comes from property taxes, which means owning a home or business and you have to pay property taxes, right? And what they do, they take all the property taxes that you pay in that particular neighborhood, that particular community, and then they designate a lot of it to the schools, which to me is kind of thrown because see, right off the bat, we know that now it's not equal. And so if your family is rich and you live in, I'm in H-Town. If you're out there in the Woodlands or you live in River Oaks, you dig, if you're in Memorial, those property taxes are a lot higher. And so those schools have a lot more resources, you dig? But if you're in H-Town, if you're in Fifth Ward, if you're in Cashmere Gardens, right? Or if you're in, Acres Home or you're in Sunnyside, those schools are being closed down. A lot of people don't even go to those schools because they don't have enough resources. Why? Because the property taxes in those lower economic areas are lower. But as a city planner, as city leadership, why would you penalize the students? Why would you penalize the kids for not, for not having the resources? Because if your parents live in apartment complexes, or if, which we know that a majority of students that are in public schools, a majority are coming from, situations where the parents really, don't really have the income to either purchase a home in nice areas or either live in an area where the property taxes are sufficient enough to satisfy the educational needs for their student or for their children. That shouldn't be the case, because right there, that tells you right there that, hidden in plain sight, we know that this particular system is set up for kids to not be successful of no fault of their own. You dig? And it kind of trips me out because when you kind of think about it in reference to numbers and when you think about it in reference to, priorities, you always been taught, especially as a teacher, you always be taught that, hey, get your education, you know what I mean? Go to school, do good things. But it doesn't apply to all students because a kid's education shouldn't be based on their economic situation. James, what it do? Hey, Deborah. Hey, Deborah, exactly. They designate, and like I say, guys, let me just kind of reiterate because I think it's important that we understand it because I see a lot of people don't really understand why most public schools don't have the resources. But then you go to certain public schools in nice areas and they have all the resources because of property taxes. And so when we live in a system where every city is going to determine a kid's educational success and educational resources on where they live, to me, that's a basic type of discrimination. I don't know why, but the numbers don't lie. And like I say, our particular spiritual knowledge or spiritual language is mathematics because mathematics don't lie. And so, but when you look at 55 million students out of school right now where they shut down the schools, right? Which student do you think going to be hurt more by that? Is it going to be the students that live in higher economic environments where they have access to the internet, have access to devices, have access to their teachers and whatnot? Or is it going to be the students that don't have that? Where if you've been paying attention, you know that a lot of our students, in public schools in lower economic areas don't have those resources. So right there, we know that there is a huge discrepancy in a child's education, especially now, right? And so if you're seeing the title is colleges get bailed out, but K through 12, right? What happened to K through 12? And the only reason I say that because right now there are a lot of districts right now that are kind of concerned that they're not going to have the resources available to start school back or to make sure that, the students going to have the accommodations necessary. Isn't that a trip? We just had 2 stimulus, right? We had a $2.2 trillion stimulus, and we had the Federal Reserve inject $2.3 trillion in the economy. And then we had an additional $484 billion stimulus, right? Now, you got to ask yourself, riddle me this. Why was it that it was only $30 billion designated to education? Dimitri, what did it do? Okay? Only $30 billion that was designated to education from the stimulus package. Now, you may say, well, you know what? Well, I got my $1,200 stimulus check. But guess what? Even with the stimulus, there were thousands of people, mothers and fathers, that really didn't get their complete stimulus. They didn't get the $500 per child. And see, this isn't on the television. You would think this would be like big news, right? Like, why isn't the government providing, the entire stimulus? Because if you have a child, now if you received yours, okay, that's what's up. But a lot of people didn't receive their stimulus from the dependent standpoint, the extra $500, right? And how and why? Because, like I say, a lot of the employers didn't get the notification. So that's not good. And then also, too, you have people that are paying student loans. Remember, the student loan people had 6 months of deference. Well, why is it that right now you have a lot of people that still having student loan payments coming out their check? That's not cool. You did? So it's really crazy, family. You know what I'm saying? It's really crazy. For sure, KY. That's where the taxes come from. Thank you, Deborah, for validating what I just said. How is it that you're going to give the $1,200 to the adults, but you don't make sure that the $500 go to the student, go to the dependents? That's not right. That's not right, right? And then, of course, if you're paying a student loan, you may need to check because remember, they were supposed to defer student loans for 6 months. You're not supposed to be paying a student loan neither interest or taxes for 6 months. But now you have a lot of people, and see, this is not on the television, a lot of people being charged or actually having their monies come out of their checks for student loans, and that's not supposed to happen. So you have one, the government or the IRS didn't send out the $500 checks for the dependents on the stimulus check. A lot of people, tripping on that. And you have people that are still having their checks deducted, wages garnished for student loans when that's not supposed to happen during a pandemic, family. Let me tell you what. If you want to know if this pandemic is really real or not, look at the coronavirus task force conferences every day and see if any of those people have masks on, see how close they are. Come on. Give it 1,000. No doubt. I hear you, Mr. October. Thank you, Deborah. Great point. But that tells you right there, you are peasants. I mean, it goes all the way back to the 16, 15, 1300s. Remember when the whole schematics changed. See, they just flipped it from the peasants. If you go and watch these old English movies where they have the crown and the monarch, and then you have all those people, down there in the valley living in huts that are peasants. That's how they treat us metaphorically, but we so cognitively dissonant that we don't even really see it, because I promise you there's power in numbers. And do you honestly think that if we as a whole group of people come together and say, hey, you know what? This ain't right. We're going to protest against this. You trying to tell me things wouldn't change? They would, because there's power in numbers, right? I mean, think about it. If everyone just stopped going to Walmart, come on, man, we'll shut them down, right? And the colleges, like I say, thank you guys for joining me. In the colleges, with these student loans and whatnot, think about this. How are they getting $14 billion bailout when they are a 501c3 organization? It's nonprofit. They don't pay taxes. Colleges, universities don't pay taxes. And when all those students go to the school and enroll in those schools and they get the loan from the government, guess what? You never see the loan. You never see the loan. That $80,000, $60,000, $10,000, $14,000 loan that you get, you never see the money. They give it directly to the college. So how is it that after so many years of every year you increasing the price of tuition, the price of books, the price of room and board, the price of food at the school? How is it that the last 10 years you don't have a stack of cash, right? Because it's not like when a student goes to the colleges, they paying you. No, you paying them. It's a business. And they getting money from the government, plus they getting money from parents that done saved all their life savings to send their kids to school. Why is colleges getting $14 billion, right? But then you hear about all these districts around the nation talking about firing teachers and laying off teachers because they don't have the necessary money to accommodate the 55 million students that's been at home. Something wrong with that. Okay? Something's wrong with that. So that's all I'm saying, family. So, and that's why I say pay yourself first, because we get so cognitively dissonant that we don't even realize the power we have as the masses of people. But we have so much division but we all know that this is wrong. There are food banks all over the country right now. It's like, and if you didn't get a chance to check out my video, I just dropped the video not too long ago where I actually was in my neighborhood, filmed the number of cars that were in the neighborhood waiting to get food, waiting to get a box of food. You did? That's all over the nation right now. But I don't see Cleflo Dollar. I don't see Joe Foolstein. I don't see TD Fakes. I don't see these cats. And remember, faith-based organizations receive a stimulus. They received billions of dollars in the stimulus. They gave churches money. So not only did they give church money to churches, they also gave money to colleges. And both of these particular organizations, family, are nonprofit organizations where they don't pay taxes. So why are you telling me that every year when colleges, increase their tuition, how they don't have money? How the churches don't have money? But guess what? The only people that are really, really affected by this particular situation is us. We got to do something different, family. We got to do something different. I'm here in A-Town right now, right? And the county judge just kind of signed the order talking about she wants to close the city down to May the 20th. She want to put the stand order back in place to May the 20th. You better get out of here. Yeah, get out of here. Okay? So it's like with particular pawns in this game. And I promise you, the only ones that's going to really pretty much come out of this situation, standing tall, is those that really understand what this is about. Use your common sense, family. And could you look up in the skies tonight, family, and see if there are lights out there in the sky that don't look like stars? I mean, I'm talking like bright lights. They're like blinking out there. Have you seen those? Put it in the comments if you have, family. Hey, Valdez, I can dig it, but guess what? Being an essential worker, why have they not eliminated the payroll tax? They talking about, and you know what I said, much love for all the essential workers that still putting their work in. But the fact that you guys are paying payroll tax is ridiculous. That should have been already in the works. You guys going to work every day, and they say this coronavirus is as dangerous as it is, and you out there putting their work in, you shouldn't be paying taxes, not payroll taxes. All right? So I just want to come back with a little, I was just kind of pissed off about that because it just doesn't make sense, especially being an educator and realize all this money out there, $4.5 trillion that you cats just put out there, and only $30 billion go to education, and the fact that you giving $14 billion to colleges and they non-profit organizations, and the ones that's gonna really be affected by this is the public kids, the kids that's in public school. Okay? We need the masses. But guess what, family? It starts from the local level. It's too many. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it's an old school film that came out a long time ago, right? And it's about how you have to kind of infiltrate, the system. And the only way you can infiltrate the system unless you kind of learn the things that the system is doing, and then you share it to the masses. That's what I'm trying to do. It's like what is it? The something sitting on the front porch. The scoop. Somebody help me out if you know what I'm talking about. But it's an old school movie where it actually, the cat has to get into and understand the system, and before things can change. And I'm telling you right now, this is crazy. There's a lot of parents right now have kids that are special education, that have disabilities, that during the school year were able to accommodate, their kids with physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, all the things that in 2002 they signed a special education bill that allotted millions of dollars to the education system for our kids, our kids with disabilities. Now, what do you think of what's happened to those kids in the last month or so since we've been out of school? Okay, Marco. Okay, what do you think? So, to me, I think this is crazy. They've already said they got a vaccine for this coronavirus. Well, they call it COVID-19 now because they know you can just go to the back of Lysol and see that coronavirus is on the back of Lysol. You think it's an accident that Trump said that, hey, we can cure it with disinfectants or light? They basically just letting you know what time it is. Okay? So don't get caught up. Kind of be smart, be conscious, and like I say, definitely pay yourself first, because this type of psyop where it affects the whole world, I don't know how biblical or how spiritual I got, but something like this happens for a reason. All right. And when you conscious of it, that tells you that you got to just make sure you get your mind right consciously, because for something like this to happen, I hope people not just like, uh, yeah, just something that happened. Remember, this happened in 1917. Remember 9/11. Uh, that wasn't an accident. And then here we have this now with the COVID-19, where they shut the whole world down. Okay, look in the skies tonight, family, and see if you see those bright lights. And if you do, holler at me. Let me know what's up. Dion, what it do? No doubt, KY. Not only has it paid, but why y'all still paying taxes on your change? That's what tripping me out. Trump been talking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks, right? But they can pass, you know, executive orders to put us in the house like that in 24/7. But when it comes time to make sure that we are, you know, accommodated, it never happened. I'm telling you, fam, they have to have something where we can come together as a people to change things. It has to happen at the local level. You did? We have to get people in. You think it's an accident that you don't know your congressmen, or you don't know your senators or your judges, federal? It's not an accident, because we don't pick those cats. They selected, but from the local level, you know, voting your school board members in, voting your city councilmen in. That's where it starts. And then that's where the revolution can occur. Because if you don't get people in that's down for the people in your own community, what make you think that these cats in Washington are going to do something? They not. They only look out for corporations. So I would definitely encourage, if you politically inclined and you vote, flip the script and take it to a local level. You know, turn that energy into local politics. And so you know the person that's representing you in your community because you grew up with them. You know who they are. And see, from there, then you can go up. We can start getting people in office that's going to do this. But if we wait for the federal level, come on, man, look who's running for president. Look who the congressmen are. Right? I mean, it's I have to agree. It's like it's the Matrix. It's crazy. For so many millions, I think about it. 300 something million grown ass men being told to stay in the house. Don't go outside. There ain't nothing wrong with you. Think about how crazy we are. Right? Ain't nothing wrong with us. And we in the house. But they not. We have essential workers, then we have non-essential workers, and then everybody else be in the house. What? How did it work? You have us in the house as if the coronavirus is lurking outside like this, right? Stay in the house, right? But then essential workers going out every morning. People that say working at Walmart and all these other stores, grocery store, they're going out every morning. It ain't like that. I have to agree with you, Brandon. And who designated what's essential, what's not essential? That's why I love the family in the garden, because you're intelligent and you're conscious. That doesn't make sense. Who does that? And we're supposed to think that and believe that, oh, okay, well, they're essential workers. They're totally immune to corona. So, yes, I'm going to go to Walmart and I'm going to go eat some food at the fast food restaurants, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to go there because they're essential workers. They're immune. What? Common sense, family. You know what I'm talking about? Common sense. You know? So, it is what it is. But definitely make sure you pay yourself first. All right? And like I say, and the family out there that didn't get that $500, isn't that crazy? The IRS did not give the $500 to the dependents. Ain't that crazy? So if you never knew that those in our community, the elderly and our kids, that they don't care nothing about, look at the stimulus check. Who didn't get it? The kids. Okay? And then who get taken advantage of? Our elderly, and Social Security. Okay? No doubt, James. It's but if you're conscious of it, it's really a tripped out situation, because You just got to sit and laugh at it and be conscious of it, because I promise you, the stock market is still like at 23, 24,000. I don't know. It dropped like 600 points the other day. But if millions of people not working, millions of people not investing, why the stock market still at 23,000 points or something like that? You know why? Because it's phony, right? But it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to be made when you understand the fakeness of it. That's what I'm saying. Once you understand the system, you can pretty much benefit from it, right? Because how is it that you have food banks all over? You have these churches, have these food banks, and they're giving them boxes of food, right? But Walmart and H-E-B and Kroger's, where the food is provided for everybody, they're not doing food drives. They just selling food, huh? Why aren't Walmart and H-E-B and Kroger's and all these companies, why aren't they donating food to the peoples? Because remember, we got 30 million people not working. So why aren't these people donating food? Because remember, if these people were working, they would be at Walmart, H-E-B, Kroger's, all these restaurants that are deemed essential, but they're only essential if you can afford them. So what about the 30 million people that's not working, not because of no fault of their own, but the government told them they can't work? Now they got to be in lines getting boxes of food. How emasculating and how, come on, man, that ain't right. That ain't right. All right. Look, food for thought, family. Like I said, if you just joining me, I really appreciate you. I did title it Colleges and why they bailed out, but K through 12 isn't. That's not right, because we have 55 million students right now at home, and not even including the millions of students that have disabilities and on special education. What about them? You did? And can somebody tell me, were the homeless immune to COVID virus? Was the homeless immune? Because I'm pretty sure those that were homeless, are they immune? So when they open up this nation, all essential workers were immune, all homeless people were immune, and everybody under 18 were immune. If you believe that. Mr. October, that's a great question. First of all, there's no such thing as Black Americans, because there's no such thing as black. Black is a color. It's not a culture. And as far as Americans leaving the U.S. for a different country, ask yourself the country, and then riddle me this. For all so-called African Americans that came over on ships, what country? Because I don't remember reading any manifest or having any type of historical information to tell me exactly what ships or what country that so-called African Americans were actually brought over here from. I don't remember that. I don't remember the country. So I appreciate that question, but go where? I mean, the world belongs to us, to everyone. It's not us going to a different country or anyone going to a different country. It's about those that are righteous standing up against those that are unrighteous and making sure that everything is everything. Okay? Why would we go to another country and leave those that are unrighteous still taking advantage of the righteous? No, it's going to be a situation where everybody have to come together and we have to kind of as one, because if you understand what the universe is, if you just break the word down, it's universe, one speech, universe. That's all of us. But we think it's different. Okay? And need a new barter system, I can dig it. And as far as the Most High coming back, the Most High is in all of us. We just got to understand it and recognize it. Okay? And as far as the barter system, Brandon Mason, no. Those that are in power got the game on latch. Okay? They just told millions of men to stay in the house, and we did. Those got the game on latch. Okay? They just told millions of men to stay in the house, and we did. They just told us when we can to go out and when we can and cannot go outside. There ain't no barter system going to change. The only system going to change is going to go from this old cash to a form of cryptocurrency. And if you already have your debit card or credit card, you know that little chip on there is cryptocurrency already, right? On a side note, for entertainment purposes only, make sure you look into blockchain and look into blockchain investments. All right? So, no, barter systems don't change. They just change the currency. See, when you can't control your production of food, you don't control your production of water, you don't control your money, your banks, you don't control your health care, you don't control your educational system, and you don't control your welfare in reference to your retirement and everything. They don't have to change nothing. We have to change things. And Hikaru, thank you so much. The Los Angeles, I think I may have put this in my video last time about the Los Angeles Lakers getting $4.5 million. Not just the Lakers. We're talking about the Lakers, Harvard University, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I can't even afford to go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. How the hell are they getting small business loan for millions of dollars? And you remember, you have to apply for that. So when you do that, I'm not just going to put those guys on front. It was over 300 companies that received small business loans. And then when you think about all the small businesses that didn't receive the money, and you look at, and look this up, family, there were over 300 big companies that not only received the loan, but applied for the loan. Think about how nasty you have to be to do that. See, you have to be one of the fallen angels to have that type of negative, evil spirit, to know that here you are, publicly traded company, and you're applying for a business loan that were designated for small businesses, right? You nasty. You did? We're talking over 300 companies. And so when the Tell-A-Lot Vision don't tell you this, you have to ask yourself, why? What's up with that? Why y'all just gonna talk about Harvard and talk about the Lakers and talk about Ruth's Chris Steakhouse when you know it's over 300 publicly traded companies that applied and got the loan, and all you have to say is, well, they better pay it back. If they don't pay it back, then they're gonna be charged interest. What? You think a company that's worth billions of dollars care about paying interest on a $4 million, $5 million loan? No, they were just extra change for them. Okay, but then here we have citizens with children, mothers with 3 kids, and families with 2 and 3 kids only get $1,200 and not the additional $500. That's nasty. You did? God, go ahead and put the like button. I'm dropping a little knowledge. I think what I'm saying is relevant, because I promise you right now, if we falling for this and not do anything about it, then you definitely gonna fall for that vaccine they're gonna force everybody to take, or have everybody take, that they just develop in 3 months or 4 months when they normally take 10 years. Okay? So, be conscious, family. It's unfair, pretty ridiculous that we have Walmart and Kroger's and H-E-B and all of these organizations not providing assistance for the citizens, that if it wasn't for the citizens, they wouldn't even be where they are. So we got to be a little less cognitive. We have to make sure that we need to love one another from a community standpoint. So the people that live in your neighborhoods, those are people we need to have love for. We shouldn't have love for the Lakers. We shouldn't have love for Walmart. We shouldn't have love for those people because they don't have love for us. You did? Support that small business in your neighborhood. Okay? Because remember, if you're in a community right now and you don't have a hospital, a grocery store, a bank, and a school that you have some input on, you don't have a community. Okay? So we got to come together like that. The way we at it now, it ain't happening. We too hedonistic right now. We love money, which is crap, and they know it, because as long as we love money, it's a wrap, right? I agree with you, Mr. October. Babylon. Okay, no doubt. Thank you, Brandon. All right, hit that like button because I promise you, um, having this kind of knowledge prepares you for, you know, the future psyops that happen. All right, I've been conscious since the '90s, so a lot of stuff that's popping off, it doesn't surprise me. But when you're an empath, it really affects you emotionally because you just really can't understand how these people can be so evil toward us. $4.7 trillion and only $30 billion go to kids, go to education. And we'll see how. And remember, virtual learning. What? But you don't provide a laptop for every student? Come on now. And like I say, and just to reiterate my point, it's unfair for students that live in low economic areas. Because remember, if your property taxes are low, then your kid is going to school in the public school with limited resources. Okay, it's the difference when your kid going to a public school in Beverly Hills, where they all live in big mansions, no property taxes are high, and your kid live in an area where in Sunnyside, where mostly people living in apartments, property taxes are very low, and the funds aren't there for the schools. So why are kids being penalized for the economic situation that they had no control over? It shouldn't be that way. All students should be able to be educated the same way. But that's my idealistic approach. All right. Well, family, in the meantime, between time, God, I appreciate you joining me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Be careful. Be careful on that vaccine that's coming, family. You do have a choice. If you see people in the neighborhood that need assistance, help your people out, right? Pay yourself first. And in the meantime, between time, may the Most High Society bring you joy. I'm going to be coming back tomorrow, guys, with a technical analysis and fundamental analysis live. I think it's important that you pay yourself first, right? But I think it's also important to have some financial literacy on when to get in and when to get out of stocks. KY, you did a great job, man. And that's big us, man. And I'm very humbled that you share that type of information with me. But like I said, I'm going to come with some information, family, about some things you need to look for that'll help you actually get into the investment game. I would definitely encourage you to look into day trading and swing trading because we're intelligent, family. You're young. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of residual income, passive income that you can make where you're not going to have to depend on a wage from an employer, because you see what happens when you depend on that. They can pull something like this, and then we're stuck in a situation. I'm still thrown by how so many people was running out there buying all that toilet paper and sanitizer and water and not even having a second thought about their fellow man or their neighbor. Okay? So I'm going to be coming with some information next time, family. So if you want to come get this information about some indicators on what to look for when you want to trade or when you want to invest, join me tomorrow, and I'm going to be coming with that information, okay? I appreciate that, Brandon. In the meantime, between time, like I say, family, being with us out of 5,000. And may the Most High inside of you bring you joy. And I'm out.